Conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to the December 18th, 2025 meeting of the Port Orford Common Council. And welcome everyone. As we have in attendance tonight, we have Councillor Burns, Councillor Levendahl, Councillor Rask is here virtually. We have Mayor Ann Velisis, me. We have Administrator Radcliffe and Recorder Joseph Harrison. Councillor Pogwizd is excused, and we're hoping our other councillors will come a bit later. Okay, please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so I would entertain a motion that we go into executive session under ORS 192.660I to review and evaluate the employment-related performance of the chief executive officer of any public body, a public officer, employee, or staff member who does not request an open hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. I'll call for the vote. Councillor Burns,
Yes.
Councillor Levendahl,
Yes.
Councillor Rask,
Yes.
and then Mayor Velisis votes yes in this case. Okay, so now we are going to enter executive session.
This conference will now be recorded.
And the volume.
Rebecca, yeah.
Okay. And y'all should be good. Maybe just give it a minute or two because we had some people waiting to get in online.
Thank you all. Okay, so we are back out of executive session now, and we don't really have an action out of the executive session at this time, so we will keep on moving down the agenda. Do we have any citizen concerns tonight? Anybody in the audience? Anybody online? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to the consent calendar.
We need a motion to approve that.
Yep, I would entertain a motion.
So move, I'll go ahead and move to approve the consent calendar as written.
I'll second it.
The web, I think he wants you to speak into the microphone so he can.
Yes.
Yeah, I move to approve the consent calendar as written.
And I'll second.
I have a few minor adjustments, which is under G, the liaison reports for the watershed thing. We didn't have the volunteers help with the culvert removal. We had them help with the culvert stabilization. We need to change that word from removal to stabilization.
Okay.
And also on number 9B, when Councillor Burns attended that meeting, I thought it was about veterans rather than housing crisis,
It
right?
was, yeah, that's right.
So veteran issues, or how would you characterize that? Or veterans issues with housing?
Yeah, it was veteran housing crisis.
Okay, so
Maybe just add in a veteran.
Veterans.
Yeah.
add veterans to that. Okay. Anything else? Would you be willing to, can we just have our, just make those minor adjustments with those motions?
I could tune that motion up a little bit, include the corrections as noted.
Okay, are you okay with that, Counselor Burns, to second that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll call for the vote then. Counselor Brennan,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Rask,
Yes.
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Webb.
Webb, yes.
Okay. So, moving right along, we have this evening a presentation to council from Mr. Rick Cook, who is our chair of our Historic Preservation Commission. So please step up to the podium, Rick, and thank you for coming out on this stormy night.
I sent out a packet to you guys earlier, and let me get my notes out here.
Did everybody get a chance to see what Rick had sent out?
Yes.
I sent it to email,
Yeah.
your emails.
Yep.
Just show it to, give it to.
If need be, I could read what my cover letter, if you, it's not very long.
I'll give it to you, Brett. You want to see what he sent out? He was just sending some photos and then he sent this. I just want to be able to see those things. Okay.
All right, so we got my commission has two projects going. Weatherization of the old jail, and then we're working on a historic marker for Fort Point. So we'll talk about the weatherization of the old jail first. We're looking at about $3,000 worth of to get it weathered in, around $3,000. The big expense is that the door. I've got a door manufacturer in Klamath Falls that they make custom doors, and they're going to build us a door, make a special one that's just a blank, won't have any holes in it or anything for knobs. And then, and that's going to cost us some money. That's $1,688. And then there's a fellow up in Bandon that's going to make hinges. What's the characteristic of that jail is those hinges on there. And he's going to make us strap hinges. You wouldn't think, I got a bid for $2,100 for 3 strap hinges like that, and another one for $1,000. And this guy said, well, it's worth about $750, but I'll do it for free. So I said, well, you're on.
Wow.
Hard to team like that. Give that guy Team Port Orford.
Yeah, so we were Jerry Marmon was working on a grant with Oregon Community, I forget, Trust or something like that. And it was complicated trying to get these grants done. And actually, I've raised $1,100 to boot. Plus, Mike down there at Curry Building Supply said he would give us around $300 or $400 worth of materials. So we're going to do this without a grant.
Oh.
And I've got volunteer labor to do it. I'm going to build the windows, and I'll probably end up being involved in every step of it, unfortunately. But that's the way these kind of.
Fortunately for us.
Yeah, maybe, we'll see. I'm starting to worry about it. But so that's what's going on. You guys got any questions about that? Susan Russell, Main Street is going to be our fiscal agent, and she shouldn't have to do anything more than that. Diane Marmon's going to talk to her, and if there's any extra book work, Diane will try to help her.
Perfect. Nice.
I don't think it'll be much. I know it shouldn't be much, but we're trying to keep everybody's workload down, so.
So Rick, I know that is now on the National Historic Register.
Yes.
So does that, I trust that you are carefully doing the things that we have to do, because I know one of the things about that is when you're making building changes and stuff, you have to follow.
Well, there's not really a building change.
Okay.
I mean, the door is going to be a modern door. It's steel reinforced door versus wood core. That ended up having a wood core. And so it's a different door, but when you walk up to it, you'll think it's the same door.
So I know you're paying attention to it. So
Yeah, and the
we'll be
windows,
counting
we
on
don't know
you.
what the windows were, but I found a photo here just recently. I put up on Facebook, and it looks like to me they're cocked windows, like a standard old window, like in my house, or, wood sash windows, and that's what I'm build. So,
Okay.
and they get painted. We'll use the same paint that we paint the door with, when we do that.
As long as we don't have any escapes.
Yeah, we won't. Well, I've had several people ask me, and it was my idea. We're gonna end up putting a stuffed dummy in there, a logger outfit, sitting in one of the cells. You look through the window and you see that guy sitting in there.
Used to be a dummy in there or something?
Huh?
There used to be a dummy in there?
Well, I've been told there was. I don't remember that.
Right, and a dummy in that thing.
Yeah, I've been told that.
I think so, I think it was Rick.
Yeah, I just don't recall seeing that in there, but we'll do that on the interior. And then we'll get to the interior. That's gonna be some work. We may have to hire somebody to sandblast all that paint chipping, and we might have to have more expense. But there's a number of people saying they'd help come and paint and clean up and do all that kind of stuff.
Great. Well, thank you so much for organizing that and,
Yeah, well-
figuring out how to do it.
I thought we were gonna get a grant, and I'd just stand back and direct like this, but it turns out that's just the way it's gonna be.
The significance of this jail, the photograph of this jail, what is it?
I think Rick gave us that jail as an example of another community and how they're
That's-
managing its little historic jail with a
They
little
make it look old.
fence around it.
Yeah, this
and-
is, we're considering doing this, it'd be a lot easier and cheaper, is to leave the jail kind of the way it is, but just clean it up a little bit, new doors, new windows. Maybe touch some paint up like that. Mike Hewitt said we could spray it with a clear coat that would preserve it. We'll dress it up a little bit, but that Madras jail is 1904, something like that. And they decided just to let it be kind of rugged.
Yeah.
And there's 2 or 3 jails in the state that are cement like that, that's the way they treated them.
And you were going to also, I believe, put a sign up at some point, right? I mean,
Well,
that's
we're
down
gonna change the marker on it. The
Yeah.
date, it's got a date of 1936 on the mounted outside. And it turns out that's when the city council agreed to build the jail, and they didn't get it built till 1939. It's kind of way things work in Port Orford.
Yeah, I've got some
Very
windows,
typical,
Can I see that? Okay.
I've got some period correct windows that are SAPS weighted, and they even have the SAPS weights that if you're interested in.
Well, we'll see. I'm thinking about going plexiglass,
Oh, okay.
and because concerned about guys shooting BBs at it
Oh, yeah.
or busting the glass out. And you can get some of that wire glass that it wouldn't fall apart if somebody did that, but that's really expensive, and then it still can get broken.
Mhm.
I first looked into bulletproof plastic glass. They got it. Well, it was over $400 to get 2 small sheets in here,
Oh,
but it would resist bullets.
Be the last glass that was ever bought for, I mean,
Well,
Okay.
I wasn't worried about somebody really shooting it, but I just wanted strong glass in there.
The wind.
But this glass is a lot cheaper, and maybe in 10 years it's got to be replaced, and I'll make the windows so they come out. They pull them in and out.
Great. Wonderful. Okay. And what about the other project?
Okay,
Anything
the
more on
other
that?
projects, the Fort Point project, and we're almost to completion, almost ready to order a marker. It's going to be a 24 by 30 marker. I sent a copy to you guys of what the marker's going to look like. We've got the artwork's all done. We're going to put a QR code that will explain the language on it, because we're using Tututan Waya language.
Nice.
And so some people may want to know what we're saying. We actually do.
Should I read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to read it?
yeah,
So, I'm going to have to say it.
yeah, you're gonna have to say it.
Okay. Or I should have you read it, Rick. Manahese.
Oh, I thought I
Manahese.
brought a copy of that with me. I
Um,
can't say all those words, but I can.
okay. So,
There it is. Tregiadan Dene, indigenous people from this place know the giant 500 feet tall basalt sea stack below is Menachese, translated by one elder as the prime back and forth rock. Elders remember this rock as a place to gather quasa, which is mussel. Quit is barnacles. Quinae, clams. Lat, seaweed. These and many other ocean foods such as sea shreenush, seals, and tusi, sea lions, tila, whales, supported people living in this place for thousands of years. Even on the brink of removal, an indigenous teen imprisoned near this spot later remembered secretly making her way down to the food-rich rock to avoid starvation. In ancestral times, each He village assumed responsibility for the land and water surrounding it. Survival and abundance came from clearly following ways to life designed to ensure balanced relationship between the Dene people and the Nessa. That's a new word to me. I had to look at that. These values and practices are intimately tied to the place, the exact rock beneath hills and mountains to which people belong. As you can see, Menachese is significant to the indigenous people, remains resilient, continue to honor their heritage, traditions, and connections to this place. Please tread respectfully, reflect on the area's history, and learn about the cultural landscapes that shape this part of the Oregon coast. I can almost read the Indian words better than I can the English.
And I would just say one of the things that's really cool about this process, Rick, is that it's been going on for, I think, almost a year or more than a
Yeah,
year.
It's been a good year.
We've been meeting with representatives from the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz and the Coquel tribe, and primarily also some people from the Northwest American Indian Coalition. And it was Rick's strong intent to really have them, give them the opportunity to design the sign and come up with it and
Yeah.
all that. So anyway, it's taken a while, but
Yeah, all the artwork, the language, everything is all their work. So we just, Ann and I were facilitators, really, is basically our job. Let them do, and we're gonna do some more, and we're gonna work on that wooden sign down there too. We're talking about that. I don't know what we're exactly gonna do, replace it or repair, change the words. We don't know, but we're at that stage where we'll start talking about that. And I want to leave it up to the tribes of what is said on it, if we do change it. And actually, there were two tribal, some of your kids' relatives helped write those words that are on there now. So.
okay. So this sign was approved by City Council in this right of way a while back. So we don't have to, that was done before. It was before my time. So I don't think we have to do anything further, but Rick is showing it to everybody so everybody can see it. So if anybody has any.
Well, anything done down at that park, if you're getting into the ground, we're going to have to deal with the archaeologist. And I've got the chief of the Coquels that has worked with her before. He did the grave site, the Summers grave site up on Battle Rock. They poured cement and put a fence around there. And so he knows how to do it. And that's why I asked him. And then he has the state, or the tribal preservation officer is paid for by the Coquels. So it's all in the family there.
And Rick has specifically actually asked if the chief can come and help do the installation of the sign and the bench, which I think is great, because then we don't have to worry about screwing it up, because they'll know how to do it well. And that way our guys don't have to we can do it.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do that.
So
We're not
that's-
supposed to disturb the ground somehow. We pour this on top of it,
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, is that it? All right, I'm going to
Rick. Thanks, Rick.
go home and eat.
Thanks very much, Rick, for all your work doing these things. Appreciate it. Okay, with that, let's move on to the departmental reports. Okay, so
for me?
Melissa,
Okay.
you're ready for you.
Excellent. I just wanted to, again, publicly say thank you to our Public Works group. We made the very conscious decision not to turn off the water during Thanksgiving. And so because of that, we had a sizable leak on 9th and Jackson. And so the water plant ran 24/7 for nearly a week there once it was discovered, to make sure that the citizens had water so they could host their visiting families and friends. So just thank you to our crew, because they work very hard. I will also mention down below the DEQ report for the wastewater treatment plant. DEQ was doing a file review, and they came up and saw, after looking back at some of the reports, that there was a stretch in, I believe it was April of 2021, that our pH was low. Per our permit, it has to be between a pH of 6 and a pH of 9. And our pH was like a 5.8 or something for a couple of days in there, just outside the permitting thing. Well, it was turned in and turned into DEQ, and nothing was flagged, nothing was said. But then they did this file review and found it. And so they're like, oh, here was an issue.
From 5 years ago.
From 5 years ago. So go figure. Also, there were a couple times in the last couple of years where the monthly report, it's called a DMR report, that is this big, huge, hairy spreadsheet that all of our operators have to turn in to DEQ. And also Joseph has been a huge help and support as we've transitioned through multiple operators to make sure that that report was done and done correctly, inputting all that data. So thank you, Joseph. There were a couple days where that was turned in a day late. It was a ding. And so because of those couple things, we have a fine that was lodged that we found out about just the other day. John Isidore, the mayor, and I met with Tori Hero and Andy Ulrich, who are the DEQ representatives with this. And in order to mitigate that fine, up to 80% of that can be turned around if we apply for it to do a supplemental environmental project. And so we've said that we would like to do that. So I had to write an appeal to them. We've also asked that, based on their calculation of this, of what the fine was, it was $6,300. That seems small potatoes to them. It's large potatoes in our world. And so we asked that if I was able to send a report, which I will do tomorrow, to them to say, here are the things we've done to mitigate these issues. Number one being hiring Josh Weidman, having someone there who's very diligent on it. He has that place running like a top. It's lovely. And so, which they agreed with, because Andy Ulrich is our kind of
Go-to guy.
our go-to guy, but he's like the investigator or the person who's the inspector of these things to make sure that things are working properly. So he said no, that place you've turned it around, good hire, you have a licensed operator, you're good. So I feel like, one, we can get that fine reduced. Two, we've also applied that as long as we have a project that we could use that money for here, then we can use it to help mitigate future issues there. So what we've talked about is perhaps using that money to be able to supplement the legislative pass-through to get more equipment that would be there. So we would be able to, things that we're already doing. So this isn't make work. It's using the money for the things that we know we need that have been called out as issues at wastewater to help improve our operations moving forward. So I'll need to write that up as what we would like to do. And there's a specific, budget and what we do. So I think that's how we're going to handle that to mitigate those, again, very long ago issues.
Are we no longer paying for signatures then?
Are we what?
No longer paying for a signature?
We are still paying for a signature.
Okay.
We still have Bob Dillard, who is our, level 3 collections, level 3 treatment guy. However, what used to be like $1,200 a month, because we didn't have someone with the proper certifications. I mean, he's the one with the proper certifications. We were paying him to do the oversight and to do the sign off. It was $1,200 a month previously. Now that Josh and Crystal, when Crystal was here, she also had her level 2s. Because they have their level 2s, it's $400 a month. So it's a significant savings by having the right people in the right places moving in the right direction. So.
And do we have Josh on track to go up again a notch, or?
So when he came to us, right before he came to us, he was at Lakeside. He was going through the process of taking the test for his level 2s. So when we hired him, he just had received his level 2s for the treatment. And I believe his level 1s for collections. I don't know that for sure, but I believe so, which is what we're paying for Bob to have those. But he, yes, is very interested in getting his next credentials. But again, he's only been here a few months. He just went and took the test for the level 2s. And so we're giving him time to study. But his plan is to continue moving forward in his education so that at some point we will be where we don't have to pay someone else to do it. We'll actually have the people on the ground for that. I will also say that I sat in on a meeting this morning that was with SWAC, because they contract with Umpqua Community College to run a associate's degree in water treatment, basically. And they were asking us, so there was the public works director from Reedsport, there was public works director from Coquille, there were Bob Dillard was on the call. There were people together to say, what did the small rural communities need as far as getting the education needed for hiring these people, or if we can hire people as maybe a maintenance person, but then they work in the water plant or work in wastewater, then they would get their credentials by taking these tests. What do you need? And so I just had that conversation this morning with them. And so that is, I don't know what they ultimately decided, but they had 3 different options. One, stay with UCC with this full-blown associate's degree. Another one was for SWAC to stand up their own program that could then be maybe a 15-credit certification process, but still have some college credits that would be needed. And then the third option was one that wouldn't have sort of the superfluous extra things. It would just be the down and dirty, here's the testing that you need to do. We're going to help you train for your test so that you can go get those level 1s, level 2s. And so those conversations are also being had because there's a new woman at SWAC who has been there 6 months, and this is something that she's seen as a need. And so she picked that up. So I was very pleased about that. And again, that just happened this morning. So that's good. And then finally, bottom, I'll just say at staff openings, the financial consultant, we're still working to get that contract set up. So I will be able to bring that to you at the next meeting for sure. And then also we did our interviews yesterday with 2 groups of candidates for the Buffington Park host and maintenance job. And so we're still in that process, but had good interviews with that. So thank you, Councilor Levendahl, for wearing the 2 hats of the Parks liaison and council member. So appreciate that. And then the final thing is just, at the end of the year, looking at what are some highlights and recaps of things that have been taken care of this year. It's been a, new mayor, new council, many new council members. And so things that as a team, and I will stress that this is a city team, which includes you folks and volunteers, of course, and community partners and agency partners and legislative partners. We don't do this alone. We do this all together. So these were many of the things that were done. And again, it's not an exhaustive list of everything, but it's just some ideas of the things that we got taken care of as a city group. So very proud of that list. So still working, but happy with those things.
Absolutely. And Melissa, I want to thank you so much for assembling this year-end highlights and recap list. I think it's a wonderful list, and to highlight so many things that you and your team and that we've all been working on. In light of that, we were we just did take our time to have an evaluation of you as we were talking about details of that in the executive session, but because council really, really appreciates you, and because the little city of Port Orford doesn't really have money to give you some special holiday bonus, we did pitch in to get some special gifts for you. And so I'd like to present those to you at this time.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you.
It's a hockey stick.
It is. Thank you.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
I won't take the time to open them because we want to
Yeah.
keep moving forward. but
Okay.
Thank you. I
And-
appreciate you.
And just to be clear, yeah, that is, counselors have to be careful about spending money or whatever, but just so you know, counselors made donations to be able to make that gift possible for you. So we so appreciate all the hard work you've done, Melissa. And so thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the mayor's report. I pretty much put all these things in writing, all sorts of good things going on. The big thing I have been working on is still trying to get the funding for our culvert removal project and getting that lined up. Of course, a couple days ago, it looked like this big, gigantic amount of atmospheric river was going to land right in that spot. But fortunately, it's changed a little bit. We have volunteers that live up in the watershed near the culvert that are helping to pay attention to what's happening. And so anyway, that's a big thing that I'm working on, and you can read more about some other things that I did in the report. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And the other thing, Melissa, neither of us did mention is we both have been paying attention to the community building and the completion of that. And it's really coming along. I'm so excited now. We're getting close, but it's still not done. And we don't yet have an exact opening day. We just learned today that one of the big holdups is the door. The front door is back ordered. It was supposed to be here. It's not here. And without the door and without the front hand railings too are sort of back ordered, we're not going to be able to get the occupancy,
Permit.
certificate.
Right.
So, but we're working on, those things are being worked on. And as soon as we figure that out, I think it'll be great to plan the celebration and
Absolutely.
invite the community back into that really cool space. And I hope everybody's gonna like it. So anyway, it's really exciting.
If you don't like it, I don't want to hear about it. I'm saying right now that people just need to say, cool. And that's it. It's a cool spot, and it's infinitely better than it was before. It's warm in there. It's lovely. It's really,
There are going to be certainly some
hopefully
things-
there will be things.
there will be
but
things people don't like,
Yes,
but that's
and
just
that's
the way
okay.
it goes.
That's
Right, we
okay.
can't-
I just don't want to hear about it.
It's an old building. We're recycling it. Okay, so moving along, we do not have a finance report, except you were mentioning you're working on hiring the finance
Correct,
person.
correct,
That's good. Public Works, John, it looks like put on our tables the overview of the past year, and wow, it's kind of amazing
Mhm.
to see how much water we treated and how much we sold and lost. And how many days, 74 24-hour days. That our plant should not be running like that. Just so everybody knows, our plant was designed to work 8 hours, run 8 hours a day, but because of all manner of problems, we're really running it ragged. But anyway, so please, we don't have him here to talk to. Thank him and staff for working over Thanksgiving, as you mentioned earlier. And maybe we can, when John is here next time, we can talk about some of these things if we want to. Okay, anything in planning?
The previous meeting of the planning commission was canceled due to lack of ongoing business. But the commissioners are using this time to continue reviewing the dark sky ordinance and potential enforcement solutions. Additionally, the code amendments seem to be going through online now. When I tried to access our code the other day, it was down. To me, that means that the people who update our code online, we're updating it. And on a similar note to that, our website will be down starting tomorrow. I'm going to try and get it back up tomorrow, but we're trying to officially switch over to the portorfordor.gov. So knock on wood,
Everything will be-
that should hopefully be happening soon.
That's a big thing this year. Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph.
And I
I
noticed
didn't even
in,
put it on the list.
it's not even on the
It's
list.
not even
and
on the
that's a
list.
big,
Well,
we got
It
to,
hasn't happened yet, so
Okay,
it can't go on the list
we'll
yet.
get it on the list, but all of our transition to the emails. And Joseph, I did notice on this list too, 15 planning clearances. And so I know those are the things that you're working on. That's a lot of work too. So thank you for all of that. That's, anyway, okay. So moving right along, we have Parks Liaison, Sarah.
But I'll read this. The one thing we did talk about was a fence around the skate park. And that, there's posts where there once was a fence. And so we do think that it's a hazard and there could be a liability for the city if someone walks off into the skate park, especially at
Oh.
dark,
In the bowl. Mhm.
into the bowl. So I think that I'll probably be coming to you to make a recommendation that we fix that and mitigate our liability.
And we have to, I think we have to get a little bit clear about process with how do we advance parks projects?
Right.
And I mean, could we just say, hey, Melissa, we need the staff to go do that? Do we have, what's our budget for parks things? We've talked about, we need to get a little bit clearer now that there's been some shifts. But that would certainly be a good priority. That would be a great thing to
Right. Even if
To
it
do.
wasn't parks, it's a city liability. I think that's why it's.
There'd be like a 4-foot fence, or would you be
I
able to
think a
look?
4-foot fence, you don't need a big high fence.
You'd be
You
able
just
to
need
look
something
over
that's
it.
going to keep somebody from, if they go over the fence and they go
That's
in.
on them. Uh-huh.
And the posts are there. So, I mean, ideally, if it could just be,
Most of
if those posts could be reused,
Right,
it'd be great.
right.
Okay,
So
excellent.
And there is, so remember recreational immunity when everything was great, and then there was the blind jogger, and then the lawsuits, and then the legislature rewrote the law, and we thought we were all okay, and we're not again. I don't know if we're clear on that, but I was speaking with Senator Smith, and he said it is a nightmare again. Their court gave an opinion on a case recently that just completely upturned the whole understanding again.
Really, I have not heard that.
So we might chat with him and see what he knows about that.
Okay.
Probably signage is a big, signs are, a lot of times that's all you can do,
Right.
but that's what is expected of us in some circumstances.
That may be really important and that might be a good thing also for Sarah to you to look into, because I mean, it might be for all of our parks that we might have to say
Yeah,
something
every-
it's
like
just Buffington, but
It's every city property, it's the sidewalk,
not.
it's
enter at your own risk.
kind of, yeah, well, I mean, the blind jogger tripped in a pothole on a trail. That's how this all started. So if a blind jogger, those two words in the same, sentence is odd enough, but if a blind jogger had a case and was successful in a lawsuit against the city on a improved, I mean, just like, you look around, I mean, wow.
Right. Okay, I had not heard that had happened. I knew that the League of Oregon Cities was working on that, and they did get, I thought, more protections, but maybe something has happened between summer and now, and so I will look into that, because
I had
that's,
spoke with him when we were up on the crane.
okay,
Um,
okay.
Okay, so speaking of which, we did the historic preservation report. Brett, do you want to give the port report?
I was just, crab season's going full swing. What did we do? We did the crane ceremony. What is the word? Comments. What's the word of that word?
Commission?
Commissioned. We commissioned the cranes and, the port invited mayor and our very own city administrator as guests to join us, and there was a good time was had by
A
all.
good time was
Yes,
had by
it's
all.
definitely a highlight. It's very fun. Okay, well, that's great. Good thing for our port and for our community. Watershed liaison report, just the Watershed Council met and they're still working on the bioswale. They have some ideas about how to try to make it a little bit more sustainable. So that's all good. And they are also looking into some more service projects up in the watershed. So it was a good meeting that I attended recently. So we'll give it that. Deanna, anything on fires you want to report?
Not really anything.
Okay.
I did want to, I know that you had contacted me about the fire hydrant maintenance. We've talked about a lot of those things. And so you talked about the spreadsheet. I do have those. So I'm just letting you know that I will get those to Chief Duncan and to John Isidore. I don't know that there's a list that has every hydrant location on there, but of which there's 92. But I have created a spreadsheet so they can start collecting their information and then we can hopefully gather all of that. So anyway, that's there.
And that's something I think when we do the budgeting next year, we just have to start thinking about how to budget to fix some hydrants here and there. I did actually, after we had a conversation, I did go and look for grants for fixing hydrants and it does not look like there are any. It's like on us it's a taxpayer.
I can't believe there's not a list of.
Well, and okay, to be clear, there could be a list.
Oh.
I don't have the list.
Gotcha.
So
You had a
that's-
map, right? Didn't you have?
There was a map that someone had brought in that had all the hydrants done, but they're just dots on a map.
So there was an art project a while back, and that's probably your best chance of finding those mapped out.
Perhaps.
Might be.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a to be determined. I'm sure someone has it. I don't have it. So but I made the spreadsheet so they can, so when we had the Thanksgiving leak on 9th and Jackson, and even when there was the leak on 7th and Jackson, I know when they go to recharge the system in the areas that were broken, that's where they bleed off the water is out of the hydrant. And so they can open them and flush them and make sure they're ready to go. So every time we have a leak, that's how they manage that, with either a standpipe or the hydrant. And so our guys do go around and open them. They just haven't been keeping track of which ones, because they're supposed to be, those hydrants are supposed to be exercised every 4 years. And so
Every year, but they can go to 4. They allow them to go out to 4.
right. And our issue is that we oftentimes don't have the extra water to go allow the hydrants to run and flush out. We just don't have that water.
Who makes that requirement?
I'm sorry, what?
That,
Apparently it's a state requirement for fire.
Fire marshal.
and with our contract with the protection district, does it go into detail about who is supposed to exercise?
So I think in the past, it seems like there had been some question about who was supposed to be doing that and what had happened. They are our hydrants. And so we are ultimately responsible for them because they're on our water system that we own. Fine. However, we're trying to get the communication between our public works and the Port Orford Rural Fire Department, that when they are doing these, that we are working together and communicating well between those two agencies to make sure that we're doing these things and getting them knocked off.
I think it's really an important thing that we are like to the level of perhaps a subcommittee should be appointed or could be considered to create a mechanism that does that. Here's, what we've done, here's, because they don't want to be surprised when they pull up.
Correct.
We don't want to be held responsible for anything like that, but they know of ones that don't work that we don't know of, and we know of ones that they don't know of, and
That's the reason for opening this.
That's why we're doing
channel
this.
of
yeah,
Communication
it
now.
just needs to be like, because
Counselor Brennan has actually, I recognize her. She has really done a commendable job of trying to convene the conversation between the chief and the city and get this conversation going and figuring out how people can work better together. So that's a good start.
There's been animosities in the past and they need to be in the past.
That's correct.
And that's what we're.
That's what we're working on right now
Thank you. I
for that.
appreciate it.
Because if they, obviously when the fire department gets there and there's a fire, they, open them up and then, because it's an emergency. But then if they don't close them in the proper way, then it creates what John Isidore has described as the water hammer. And that sort of reverberates through and then breaks our lines. And so we're really trying to make sure the training on the fire department side and the training on our side of how to do these things well and trying to get that improved communication for sure and improved working together, because we're all on the same team. And that's what we keep saying, that there have been animosities in the past, as I understand it, but we need to get over it and do what's right for the citizen. So that's what we're doing.
The reason I asked about the hydrants and who owns what or who is in charge of what, the painting project, the fire hydrant, so that was an idea that I had that I mentioned to the art council 20 years ago or 15, and it was done in my neighborhood in 1976, the bicentennial. They had a contest and everybody painted their thing. Well, as it turned out, the paint was causing problems with being able to open the hydrants.
Oh my gosh.
Makes sense.
And when that idea was brought here, which I didn't know of at the time that I mentioned it, so I found out later that that was a bad thing. But when it was brought to, when Arts Council brought it to the city as a potential, then the city asked for input from the fire department and ultimately gave that authority to someone who didn't own the hydrants nor would be responsible for their failure. So just the clarity there, I think, is kind of, it's just important to know exactly who and what and how, and I applaud your work with them if that's what's happening. Very good. Just those, the things that you wouldn't think are that you wouldn't even, whoever would have thought that, well, that's one of the things that can happen. So.
And I think that, different little pieces that different ones of us see, or pieces that we're picking up and fixing and getting to work better, and that you and your staff are, I feel like we're those things are like, just like you're saying, there's these questions that you just think, oh, you don't know the details, and then we have to drill in and understand it better. So I feel like we're doing it, but there's a lot to do on that front. So anyway, okay, let's move along to number 9, old business. We have this is informational, the idle meter update. Melissa?
Okay, so you can see here, I explained that there were about 70 accounts on the original idle meter list. This was something that the finance committee said, we need to make sure that the people who are hooked up into the system and are connected to the system are paying for the system. Historically, it had been decided that if people want to turn off their water, they can do so. But council decided last year that if people are hooked to the system, then that landowner is getting the benefit of having water and or sewer on their property, which increases their property value, which means that they need to pay into the system, as we only have 700 and a handful connections. So we had a list that originally came out of about 70 that were idle meters. There was cleanup of those that had in past people putting accounts in or something. If they put in the wrong address or they put in the wrong thing, somehow those were not removed from the system. And then if they just made a new account, then that would roll forward while where this chaff was still in the background running. And so as Joseph actually went through and found a lot of those, to say who actually owns these, he looked at county maps to say who actually are the landowners of these places. What we found was that of those 70, approximately 37 of them were remaining. And so we had public works staff go out and say, take notes on those places. Is there a meter there? Is there a structure? Is there not a structure? Is it just a vacant lot? is there water and sewer, or just water, or just sewer, or what's here? And so after they did that, then we realized, and that's why I came to you in the last meeting and kind of made the decision, told you about it. Of those 25 had a structure, and you had said, like, if they have a structure and they have a thing there that could leak or whatever, then yeah, it needs to be part of the system and needs to pay in, because our guys have to go out, Public Works has to check those every month to then input into the system. So we found that 25 of those accounts of the 37 have a structure, and we have now sent one letter to everyone, all these accounts from before, but now we've targeted onto these. And so we are getting ready to send service agreements and a second certified letter to those to say, we need your information, you need to be hooked up to the system, here's why, and get those people paying into the system of which they are a part. The remaining 12 lots didn't have a structure, and so that was the decision by council that if they don't have a structure, then they can remain off. And so that is what they had done. Again, I checked with legal counsel to say, to quadruple check that yes, we can do this, and they agreed that yes, you are within your rights as a council to change that policy to have people pay into that. So that's the update.
Perfect. That's a lot of work. I know. It was one, I know you said it's one of those things that sounded easy and, but was way more complex.
Yeah.
And to just say too, that the two, I feel like we're solving a couple of problems with this, just not only because getting more people to pay in, which we really need, but also that leaks happening, errant leaks that then are not being paid attention to because they're not being checked. So
Right.
that we had that happen a couple times.
Yes.
So that will help. Okay. Anything else? If not, we will move on to new business 10A, correcting the city fee list.
We had left off somehow, we had left off burn permits. And I don't know how we did that, but we did. And there are now the new ones. Yes, we do have it on there, but somehow we didn't have it on the other one. And so I feel like this thing has been a zombie, like it just will not stop. But we feel like we have it resolved at this point so that it's clearer than it was.
I just talked to Joseph about a little nitpick today about this, and we discussed the description of the connection to the water system with SDC there on page 1. Do you see that connection to water system SDC? And that really the SDC fees are probably, some of those fees off in the column of number on the right side are maybe not included, not really considered SDC. They're more like the hookup or what is officially might be called the reimbursement cost. So Joseph and I kind of brainstormed about maybe as a solution to temporarily take off SDC and then keep working to figure out how to more clearly state it ahead of the next budget process so that we're.
I think the question is, do those two funds, so connection to city water system where it has the two numbers, that's more of for us of the internal to say which funds do those go into to make sure they're being properly accounted for within our system. I think ultimately what the public needs to know is what the total is. So when they come in to write the check, this is what it is. I don't know that people need to know the exact fund that it's going into. So we could just remove those superfluous numbers so that so we would know this within our internal, our internal documents, but for the external documents, this is what it is. Also, if people connect to the water system, their hookup fee includes the cost of the meter because it's part of the hookup and it's part of that. However, if they are only getting a sewer connection, then they need to come in and pay for a meter and pay for a box and pay for a lid because that's not just automatically part of that. So that's another subtle difference between the two. Why? Because that's the way it's done. But that's also why that information is there, because it's different between water and sewer.
So if they do a well, there's no SDC fee other than paying for the meter.
The sewer SDC fee they would have to do.
They'd have to
Yes.
pay that one, but not the water.
Correct.
But eventually.
Yes, but eventually they will.
They will eventually.
They would
Because-
pay the whole
Whole
SDC.
thing.
Okay. I just
When
wanted-
they are then allowed, once we're out of curtailment and they're allowed back onto the city water system, if they don't have that, then the expectation is that they will come and be part of the city water system. And they would need to pay those system development charges.
Um,
So for now then, shall we, I would propose maybe we cross out SDC and then cross out the sub numbers and just say total. And then I think it is useful. We just have to make sure that that everything is, that if somebody asks about it, we have to be able to tell them. And I think it is useful for Joseph, for whoever is like being the first person who talks to our utility customers or prospective builders or whatever, to say, here's how these costs break down. You know, you've got the hookup, you've got, and you're also going to be paying an SDC fee, which is a system development charge that will help us in the future, you know?
Right.
Just so people understand
Yeah.
better all of this infrastructure financing stuff, which is complicated, but if they want to. But I think simplifying it down to total would be good.
Okay.
So you're looking for a motion that would include this, so it would be to actually update the entire ordinance, right? It would be, the vote is on the resolution alters the original ordinance.
Joseph?
An appropriate motion in this case would be to motion to approve the changes to the city fee list as amended with the items that have been discussed during this item. It's just updating a city fee list. Nothing on there is materially different than what was there before. It's just for the purpose of clarification and making it clear to our customers, you know, how much things cost. And getting one item on there that was missed but was discussed at the time of the budget cycle, just was left off the document.
So I think that we're kind of coming up short on this in as much as we're not addressing the future. Something like within this ordinance, it should or could, in my opinion, it should look at the CPI. That we need to deal with inflation, and it needs, if it's codified, then it's out of it's done. And we never, if this is fair, then a 2% annual increase is fair. And so if we can get that right, and that's why I'm asking now if maybe we should look at that, revisit that in the coming months. But I think it would be wise of us to get that.
I wholly agree. And that's on the to-do list. That was one of the things that the finance committee recommended that council directed staff to do, but we didn't quite get to yet.
And at least for as long as I've been here, the city fee list has been one of the ordinances that gets passed every budget cycle, along with about 4 or 5 other ordinances to fully ratify the budget. So it's addressed at the same time. And if you council would like to codify it to have an annual increase, you can. It's just there's a good time to do it when council's traditionally done it. This is more of a quick fix to get us to that point.
And the reason that council had recommended it is because there are various times, like it seems like all the time now, that the economy is bad and things are hard and people feel like saying, oh, well, we don't want to increase our fees because we know people are hurting. And then that happened during COVID, that's happened in the past. And then the city really gets into a hole. And the reality is the city is the people. And if we are having so many water leaks and problems, and I mean, so it's kind of like, it's just part of, that's why we talked about making it, codifying it so that,
We know that our costs are going to increase
Yeah.
annually by this much.
But I think that would be something, like you said, during the budget time to actually codify it when you do that.
Yeah, I think it would be wise to do
Because
that.
we're covered for this fiscal year. So, yeah.
Thank you, Joseph.
put it on the list. Yeah. So,
So we
so
just don't want to forget.
I would entertain a motion that Joseph suggested,
So moved.
which was
Second.
correcting the city fee list background with the amendments as discussed. Okay, so moved. And seconded. I will call for the vote. Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Webb, yes.
Counselor Rask. Counselor Rask. Okay.
He is muted. I will send her an unmute.
Okay. Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Brennan.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
What was the increase?
Counselor Rask, are you there?
What's the- oh, here.
He has not accepted the unmute request yet.
Okay. Well, when we get her, we can hopefully get her vote. Okay, next item is 10B, appointing a budget officer.
I need to appoint Melissa Radcliffe, our budget officer,
Second that.
if she would be so bold as to.
Okay, we have a first and a second. I'll call for the vote. Any discussion? Nope, I'll call for the vote.
I feel like I'm me,
Right,
Part of the
voluntold.
part of the gig.
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Webb, yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Brennan,
Yes.
Counselor Rask. Okay. The ayes have it. Okay. The next thing is 10C. And this one, I'm a little bit heavy-hearted about this one, but owing to a set of significant unanticipated costs that we've had in the last year, we became concerned that we are not going to, that we're really going to be tightening our belt and scraping to get through. And so there's concern that we will not have sufficient funds to implement the beautification grant program this year. So that's $10,000 basically. We had committed $5,000 in our budget to go to Jubilee, but the $10,000 is for the very popular beautification grant program. But we learned, for example, and this will be part of further discussions in January about finance, but for example, we learned that the cost of audits, which used to be more like 15 or 20,000, is now going to be 50,000. We learned that the cost of the finance staff person that we want to hire is, we couldn't find a local person to hire, so we have to hire a consultant that's going to charge like $150 an hour.
200 for one guy.
200 for one guy.
Did
And
you guys talk to the port has, that we had an intern that helped us with that. And she's still there. And she's like, she applied to be the manager there.
Yes, I remember her.
And
Mhm.
so, right, and she's there and that is kind of in her wheelhouse. I wonder if anybody, or if she's even aware of that.
Well, it was open
Yeah,
in
no,
all
I
the
mean-
places and in the paper and all the things for sure. And I think she does more along the lines of what Dina does.
Oh, okay.
So it's a different level of
It's more
education and those
bookkeeping
things.
type.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yeah. So accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll, all of those things, this is the person who does the oversight of that to help with setting the budget, helping with the audit, giving the monthly council
And
packet.
one of the things that we've learned
oversight.
is it's a very specialized knowledge of municipal finance. And if anybody wants a good job or has like a young person who's a bean counter kind of mentality and wants a good job,
Do this.
there is a major shortage of people who are knowledgeable about municipal finance right now. But anyway, some of those things have come up, and as we were kind of scraping to try to think, how are we going to hire this guy? We started looking around. I mean, just that preliminary look of where's this money going to come from? And, you know, some of the things are going to be probably some more deferred maintenance, but this was one of those things where it was like, okay, here's $10,000. We don't have, unfortunately, even though we're really trying to do better, we don't have the money for kind of, as Melissa has said, well, we need to focus on what we need instead of what we want right now. So the reason it's coming up now is because we would normally kick this program off in January. And we will in January be, as we move into the conversations about the public safety levy, we will be looking more carefully at the budget and what we need to do. But so anyway, that's,
Can I make a point of clarification?
Yeah.
So the total that we have budgeted for this is $15,000, 5 of which is earmarked for the Jubilee. So that's staying. And then we're talking about the other 10.
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify because
good.
it
That-
sounded a little muddy. I mean, I just want to make sure that everyone understands we're not taking the 5,000 from the Jubilee. That's been there. That's staying. This is the other 10 of the total of 15.
They would tar and feather us.
Well, I'm
I
just
mean,
saying.
I'm
Yeah,
serious, they would
yeah.
tar and
So
feather.
And-
I just wanted to clarify that.
That was coming out of the TLT, but that was the TLT that was the
It's actually-
60% or
it's
the.
actually very confusing, Wiz. So we've always, Counselor Burns, we've always called it the TLT grant program, but that is actually like a hangover, a historical hangover from way back when the city first started collecting TLT money, like in the 90s or early 2000, and cities could do whatever they wanted with it. So at that time,
thing.
they started a beautification program with some of that money. Yes, they could do whatever they wanted with the whole thing, and they started that beautification program. Since about 2006, there's state law that says what specifically the money can be spent on, the official transient lodging tax money, and beautification is not part of it. What it can be spent on is tourism promotion and tourism facilities. So, you know, we've just went through that whole, in the last meeting, we talked about the MOA with Main Street that is in charge of spending the TLT money. So we've called this the TLT beautification thing, but really we need to start calling it just the beautification grant. It's not really, because it comes out of the city money. It does not,
Couldn't come out of anything that Main Street's getting.
No.
no. Unless they wanted to start, no, because it's not beautification. The beautification is not part of what that money can be spent for.
Now,
So it's very confusing and we're trying to sort it out. But anyway, so I'm not psyched about this. I think it's a cool program, but I'm just looking at the,
Now, could the Jubilee come out of that,
out of the TLT money.
out of the Main Street?
We're looking into doing
Because
that.
it would be an attraction.
We're looking into doing that, but it's a little bit of a gray area. But we have it in the budget for this year, and Main Street asked us to not take it out this year. So we kind of have it all set to go. We gave, in our budget last year, we said we'd give the 5,000 to Jubilee. So we're gonna
we're honoring that.
honor that. And then moving forward, we're hoping that it might be able to come out of the other, but we have to look into that a little bit, I think, more carefully. It has to go for its promotion, and the definition, the question is, what's the definition of promotion? And
Do we
And-
define that?
Because that
That-
shouldn't be much different than like the waters,
Yeah.
that winter one and the Port Corford. and
Yeah.
Seems like it would be very similar.
yeah, and what we had to put in that agreement, you'd think it would be very easy to figure out, but it has to do with like case law and like what
Parameters.
yeah. And so we had put into that agreement, like, you know, a certain percentage of the money for events has to be spent on promotion and stuff like that. We tried to honor the letter of the state law to make sure that we're
Compliant.
compliant. Yeah.
Sometimes the terms are left to this body to define too. Like
Well, and that's
some
what,
terms are,
yeah. And that's what we tried to do in that MOA. I would say we kind of tried to, exercise our purview.
Our weight.
Yeah,
throw
our
weight.
authority as much as we
That's
could
what I thought.
without getting crosswise. I just had an interesting conversation over the weekend. I met a guy who is using TLT funding. It's actually county level TLT funding, and I don't know if they have a different rule than we do for trail work in a different part of the state because it's so important for the recreation and that industry there. So, but we have had conversations with our lawyer about it, and it's one of those kinds of things when you talk to the lawyer and they say, well, it depends, blah, 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 and you just feel like,
Yeah, you just got to go through the court system.
that'll be
Decide who
$200,
wins.
please.
Oh. Minimum.
So anyway. So we don't really have a motion on here, but I guess to pause it for next year, but I guess that's what we're asking to do. I mean, we could just do it by consensus, but I think we owe it to, I put a lot of effort, Councilor Pogwoods and I put a lot of effort last year in with that committee to try to get them psyched up. And it's a great committee. It's a great program, but I'm just worried we're not going to have the money this year.
It's kind of icing more than,
Cake, yeah.
So do you want a motion or do you just want to?
Well,
By consensus?
What are we doing?
we could do it either way. I mean, if I would entertain a motion to pause the program for this year, I guess is what I had just said, unless,
So moved.
and second,
any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. Councilor Brennan,
Yes.
Councilor Burns,
yes.
Councilor Lovendall,
Yes.
Councilor Webb,
Yes.
Councilor Rask. And I really hope we can bring it up again next year. I mean, so
Because I think what you're asking for is a pause.
a pause
It's a great program. We want it back.
to make sure we're getting our finances in order.
Can we collect the tax and not have a reason? I mean, taxes are collected for an identified purpose.
Right.
And if we no longer have an identified purpose, can we collect the tax?
This is not related. If you remember, I was just explaining, this is the reason, this is no longer a.
Oh, you're
thing
talking
that-
about the program that we're
Yeah.
breaking, or that we're clarifying.
So we're not, the
Okay.
tax we're
All right, I'm
collecting
sorry, that
goes
was
for
confusing.
tourism promotion, not
Okay.
for this. So basically, to pay for this, we'd have to be robbing, we're just be scraping the budget of our city operations and trying to
We're
figure
gonna,
out,
to be clear, we're going to continue the program that the tax is collected for.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up is we want to schedule some work sessions in the beginning of the new year. We have coming up early the need to have a conversation about the public safety budget. We had talked before about putting a police levy on that would repeal the current levy and replace it. When we adopted the $12 public safety fee, we had said we would do that. And so the committee, a committee met earlier this fall. We looked at things like how much money do we need? What should the language be? There's a lot of stuff to look at, and we would like to have a work session and bring all that information to you guys to come up with a plan. So we should do that, because if we want to get on the ballot in May, which was what we had initially talked about, we need to get our act together sooner rather than later. So could we plan for a meeting ahead of our, like in January? Let's say like January.
I think we should wait. When I voted yes, my understanding of that, I've said it before, but I thought that when the levy came up.
Yeah.
That's when we would address this. And I feel like right now, everyone is under such a pinch. And the $12 went over without any dead bodies in the streets and no fires and no explosions. And now we're gonna bring up this thing. It just seems foolish to me at this point in time. I want to just state that and let it be known that I think that this is a really bad time to take a levy that we have and try to alter it or add to it or do anything to it, like sometimes just the calm is kind of nice.
Well, I think that can be part of the discussion, Brett. I mean,
Okay.
we said we would, when we adopt the public safety fee, we
I
said something.
misunderstood. I thought
And-
that it was going to be later.
Yeah. And so I think we have more information now. We have different circumstances now, perhaps. We have, I mean, I think we can have that discussion. I am not averse to changing our thinking or our mind if we have more information and things are different and we have a plan. We just have to be transparent about it and have a discussion and weigh, methodically weigh things. And so it makes sense to have it as a work session
Gotcha. Okay.
before we take any action or do anything.
I'd love to see that on the table.
Yeah, I hear you. So would we be able to do that on, let's see, so it looks like Thursday, the 8th is not available because that's like a Parks Commission meeting?
That is correct.
Okay.
And we would be getting together prior to that.
Yes, our committee would have to get together to just so we are clear on what we're going to bring to the information we assembled to share with council.
No, the 15th is-
I would say, how about on no, you can't make it the 7th. You can't make it a Wednesday, Sarah.
Tuesdays.
Could we do it on Tuesday? I feel like Tuesday, the 6th is going to be maybe too early for us. How about the 13th?
It's really cool. We used to have a big calendar right there where you're sitting and
I know. I thought I brought one in here.
really helpful for everyone in that seat in the past to
I don't know, is that this year though?
visualize.
Well, oh, you're right. It's not, this is like last year's. I did bring it in here, but let's see if
My idea was that we would invite other bodies to use different colored pencil. There's a spider. Don't kill him. I'm sorry if you can. That's,
There is one in City Hall, but there you can see what that January,
yeah,
this
it's just,
January.
I
dates are.
found when I was the chairman many times at the port over the years, these were really helpful to see in front of me and then I could see, okay, the city's this, the port's this, the parks is here and there. And there was kind of a loosely accepted system of informing one another because each of these bodies, we don't really
No, we can do it,
communicate too
yeah.
much,
Well, we could
They're
ask,
on, well, I mean, they're on the city website calendar, right?
Mhm.
When all the things are, so they are there.
That's, yeah.
but it could be helpful to do that.
I'm showing my age when I talk about pencils and papers and things,
Papers.
different colored pencils.
She's not muted.
Could we, so that's a separate issue. You could
I
ask
guess.
or
I'm not-
propose for staff to take care of
I'm
that,
not-
or you could come
I'm
in
not even saying anything.
with a pen and do it. Somebody could volunteer to just do that.
Hmm.
Which is sometimes the best way to get things done that we want to get done. Would January 13th work? That's a Tuesday for everybody? Would we do it? Should we?
Second Tuesday.
Yeah, it's the second Tuesday. We could do it, if we could do it a little bit earlier, it might even be better. I know you might be working, but just, I'm thinking if we actually, since it's going to be an important conversation.
If you want me there, that won't work for me.
Okay, well, we should have Hank there
I would
perhaps,
say so.
I would say.
Something
13th.
more later in the week, Wednesday through Friday.
Wednesday or Friday for you?
Wednesday through Friday would work for me,
Okay,
not Tuesday.
so
Well,
Thursday,
Thursday is the city council meeting. Thursday, the 15th is the city council meeting.
Yeah.
That obviously
can't do that. Could we,
What about the week before?
it's unfortunately the 9th on a Friday. Could we do,
won't- People.
Melissa will kill us for that.
Well, you
Yeah.
can, whatever you need to do.
I can do Friday. That's with me, or
The other option would be to try to do it earlier on the 15th, like do an afternoon meeting and then come back and have like a,
That'd be fine with me.
like a 3 to 4:30 workshop and then go
Be able to be there?
have
I
a break.
know,
and then
that's
come
really
back.
gonna be,
Are you just gonna be fishing? That'll be,
yeah, those dollars this time of year are so big that you just can't.
so evening's good for you. So it sounds like we have to go all the way maybe to Thursday, the 22nd.
So can we maybe do some soul searching between now and our regular council meeting, business meeting next month? And answer the question, do we want to do this?
I
And
think-
then move forward?
About.
That's
Well,
what this is
but-
about, because I
But we're
think,
gonna have a big meeting to determine whether we want to do it or not, but
don't you think you
it's-
need to have the information that we all, it doesn't sound like you need to have that. But
I
I
don't.
think we looked at like some of the
I
finances.
know what my pocketbook says, you
Yeah.
know, and I know that we had a successful thing and we were thoughtfully brought forward the service, the fee, and all of that thoughtful working has got us to a place of calm. And man, I just,
Yeah, I think, I'm not
I
saying
need to-
it's
I
not,
need to push back on that just a little bit because people, not everyone is like completely calm about that. What I will say is that
but how are they gonna, if $12 bothers them, they're not gonna vote yes.
could be fair.
I think we just have to have the discussion, and I think I can completely go along with that view if that's what we want to do. I don't have a huge preconceived notion about it, except we did do a bunch of research because that's what we promised that we would do when we adopted that fee. And our committee did look and started to look at how much money do we need to raise? What would it be if it was a tax rate? How much is it for different people? I mean, so there's information that can be
All right.
inform it, the discussion.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the public safety fee a temporary thing
It was
to
for
get
partial.
to the new levy?
Right.
So if the new levy is passed, then that public safety fee goes away.
But it was, so what I voted yes on was when this levy expired, we would look, that's what I thought that I was,
What year is that?
5 years from last year, so
It's like 3 more years.
3 more years.
That's kind of what I thought.
That's
too.
what I thought we were
I'm
doing.
not gonna interject, you guys are the experts.
No, I think that, I mean, it may be worth taking a listen to the tapes or
Well,
Video.
I think if everybody else thought it was temporary, maybe different ones of us had different views on it, but I think
yeah,
that,
it's-
yes,
it's-
Joseph, did you
I'm
have?
not, I'm not trying to throw a wrench in the spokes or anything. I just wanted to be
Yeah.
clear that that was.
And I'm going off my memory here, so take this with a grain of salt. I believe in council discussions, you originally started with the idea that you would revisit the $12 public safety fee when the current levy expires. But through the course of your discussion about the public safety fee, you decided to revisit it upon the next opportunity to change the levy, which would be this upcoming election.
That was my understanding.
Without
We
it
would
costing us,
Look,
Yeah, without costing
Without
the
it
city
costing
money
us
for a
money.
special election. Sorry to
Right.
interrupt. Kathy.
exactly right. That's what, I don't know if you're right, but that was my understanding, that was to hold us over until we could
So
have a levy that would cover the cost.
It would be in May.
But the original motion would have been to,
I don't see,
Until
I
the levy
see,
expires.
information gathering. I would like to know, I'd like to hear.
well, that's fine, but
I think a work session might be of benefit, maybe just for
I
me.
think for our own clarity,
Yeah,
what the council voted for is kind of important. And Joseph's recollection is the same as mine, and that was that we would get things worked together for the next levy when it expired. Then maybe there's been some discussion and perhaps confusion or clarification, which brought us to the point that we are now. But that would be acting outside of the original understanding.
I don't think it was, because I mean, I think we should ask Joseph to go back and look at it, but I mean, I believe happened during the conversation at the time, because I believe that when we did do that, I mean, that's why we jumped on it. That's why our committee was working to go and do all that research. I mean, we put in hours of research to figure some of this stuff out. Otherwise, we would have not done it we would have waited 4 years.
But when did when that committee was appointed when? Recently, right?
Excuse me?
When did we appoint the committee? It wasn't appointed at the
At that
time.
time, you,
It was, the committee was appointed after some discussion.
Yeah.
And we decided, or whatever happened. And then now, oh man, we're gonna try and beat the May thing. And that's when the committee was put together. But the original understanding was that we had, not to say that that's not good stuff.
I think we need
To
to go
me,
back.
I think we'll check it, but I think, I mean, the thing that I have heard is that it seems like part of the council feels like we said this is temporary and we would turn it over the opportunity to the voters, and that's what we would be
And they
wanting
put
to.
it on the property owners and not
Yeah,
the
no, and
renters.
that's fine. And that might be the right thing to do, but I think the timing of it is what is in question.
Right, and we could do it in May, we could do it in November, we could say we want to put it off. I mean, one of the other things that we have to check in on again is, sometimes if you want to be successful in passing a levy, you have to see what other levies are on the same election. So far, we did not know of any others on, but what if there's another one that's on? I don't know.
For May.
For May, yeah.
I'd happily, I don't think we have time to do it tonight, but I will happily get it on my list of to do and verify that and send it to the counselors sometime tomorrow. So all of you are aware of what the actual motion was. So you can decide if you would like to meet about it before the next city council meeting.
I'm completely prepared to support the decision that's made. I just want to be sure that that's what was.
And the $12 fee, just again, talking inflation and things, the $12 fee covers $100,000. That's what it was looking at. And so we know that $1 today is not going to be $1 in 4 years, or 3, whenever the thing goes. So that was why that number was chosen for that.
It was kind of it was chosen for a Band-Aid this year, unfortunately. I mean, it was fortunate that we chose it, but when you look at the actual budget, unfortunately,
Not enough.
Not enough.
it's not enough. So that's part of the discussion. It's sort of like, it will get us into the mood for dealing with the budget. It won't get us. It's like I remember last winter being super stressful. The budget season is super stressful because basically we don't have enough money to do everything we need to do. And that's the reality. And everybody wants more services. So anyway, we have to have the conversation, I think, one way or another so that we all understand it. And whether we decide to put something on a ballot or not, we have the conversation and then we decide, because I do feel like there is this way in which we are elected to be the leaders of the community, and we put in a lot of time and effort to do all the details that everybody doesn't have the time to get into. And so on some level, people have to hope and trust that we're going to do our best job. And then there's also the role in which we say, we're going to turn it over to the voters and see what they think, but they have to be informed. I mean, everybody's going to vote against paying 1 more cent, but if people could understand that what it means to our community to have public safety or to have water that works and all those things that we're striving to make our town work,
But in order for them to be informed, we need to be informed.
That's exactly
And
right.
know what's going on.
And we need outreach, incredible amount of
That's right.
outreach.
Having a work session is important.
So
And to be clear, I just said on the 9th that Friday would be hard for us, because that's when Joseph and I are trying to gather everything to prepare for the next week's meeting, because we have to get the packet out. So those days are stressful, but if we have to do that,
well, how about if we do it on the 22nd? It might make it tight for us, if we had to do more, like if we decided we did want to do something, we might have to have another special meeting or something or the other, but in February.
Are
Could it be a
Mondays
special
all
meeting?
out?
Could it be a special
I mean, we
meeting?
didn't even talk about
Nope.
Monday.
Oh, yeah. Hank
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 can, yeah.
can only make Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh,
Can it just be a special meeting and rather than a workshop? That way some business could be conducted.
Yeah, we could do that.
Then we wouldn't have to call for a special meeting if it was a special meeting. For the purpose of that.
But my intention would be that we would not be making any decisions at that meeting, that it would be a meeting to really just kind of have a discussion.
What did you just say? You said that it might cut it short and we might have to call a special meeting.
Well, like if we had a conversation about things on the 22nd, we wouldn't have another council meeting.
So I agree. And that's why
Yeah.
I suggested that if we make
Right.
it, we're not forced to make a decision in a special meeting.
Okay, we could do that
It gives us the
option. Yeah,
option to make it that happen at that time.
okay.
Just a thought, and I trust your judgment.
So it's 22nd.
5:30?
Is that the best time for everybody? 5:30? 22nd? We'll have to drink some coffee and have dinner before you come. And why don't we just leave it at that? I also would like to put on our agenda to do a next priority session, but this is a higher priority right now. So why don't we do that? And then maybe in February, we can pull council together to do that priorities revision. I think we have we did good work last year. We still have our priority list.
See, I don't think we've checked everything off that. Hopefully, I
No.
mean, it could be part of this if we notice it that way, that it's about the reinforcing priorities and doing the levy. Because I don't see the priority conversation necessarily. We did a lot of work last year on that.
I just kind of feel like it might be hard to do both of those things in one session, but
Our
How do you-
priorities probably aren't too much different.
would you like to do it in one session? Do you other people think we could handle two things?
Seems kind of
I'd
like a
rather
lot.
just do one
Yeah.
personally so we can really explore it.
I think that, so I agree with Sarah.
Okay, so let's
Okay,
do
special
one.
Meeting levy, got it.
And then we can revisit at that time. We'll come up with the better timing to do the priorities. Okay? We're already getting to that point of like, oh no. I thought this meeting was going to be short, but anyway. Okay,
You have
Well,
8 minutes before you got to.
with that, I think we can move on. And hopefully we will be able to get information out to council ahead of time too. Sometime in early January, we'll have to meet and figure out what we want to share and get that ready. So with that, we will end new business and we'll go on to considerations. Do we have any considerations from citizens in the room? How about citizens online? Any considerations?
I'm not seeing any hands raised, and I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
Perry on the phone to vote on those things, or it passed fine. Okay.
Okay, hearing no considerations, I will ask staff, any staff in presence, anything to share? Nope. Okay, counselors, anybody have anything they would like to share?
I just wanted to mention, I did do a presentation to this senior class about having a student representative. And it was an interesting experience for me.
What happened?
Well, 3 of them were asleep most of the time.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But it does sound like there could be a small group that would be interested in doing some kind of basic level this year, just to do something. They come to a meeting but they're going to kind of get together and discuss that themselves, and then I'll get back with them and report.
Okay, great. Thank you for doing that, Counselor Burns. Anyone else? Anything? Okay. I'll just end by saying I want to thank all of you guys for your volunteering to be on our city council this year and helping to lead our special little community into the future. It's thanks to the staff. And year end is a good time to reflect on all these things that we're grateful for. And I'm definitely grateful for everyone. So thanks all very much. And I
And we
wish you
are-
happy
and I say-
holidays.
And we are for you too, because you do the work of a full-time employee in all the research and in all the things that you do. And I'm very grateful for you of the hard work that you put in. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Ditto.
Okay. Well, on that positive note, I wish everybody very happy holidays. And we will see you all in our happy new year. And it's going to be hopefully a great one for our little city of Port Orford.
Absolutely.
Thank you all very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
You need,
Oh,
don't need.
I'm adjourning the meeting at 7:25.
It looks good that this.
And next meeting will be January 15th at 5:30 and subsequent workshop tentatively scheduled for January 22nd at 5:30. Is
Correct.
that correct? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Got it.
Yeah, it's modern yet old timey somehow. I don't know how that, it's really good.
Magic.
It's magic.